Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Baldur's Gate 3, where today we're continuing our exploration of the Shar'd ruins. Though, as you may notice, we've fallen back just slightly because while I was clearing the tables, I noticed that there were some scraps I missed the first time through. And look at that, we've got a skeleton key. Pitted key. Found gripped in a skeleton's hand. The key is pitted from use. The grip is stained with something organic. Lovely. And a bone. That said, there was nothing else of particular note in this room. Just like 25 gold worth of miscellaneous garbage. Let's push on.
What path lies before me?
Really, the big risk here is just the rest of our party blithely walking through puddles of dripping acid. We'll navigate straight under the stairs, then separate Auric and have him scout the room solo. Oh, shoot. Whew. Touché, Baldur's Gate 3. You really got the drop on me with that one. Hiding the perception markers right up until they were ready to strike was unexpected. And yes, we are up against mediocre jellies. I think that was my first guess when we saw the dripping puddles of acid last time around.
Ready for anything.
Not immune to acid damage. Feels like a bit of an oversight.
I'd love to, thanks.
They are tanky, though. We're going to have to whittle a bit. And of course, were this an earlier edition, I'd toss up Resist and Protect from Acid. But it's just not really practical in 5e. Not with all those spells being turned into single target concentration. That said, these things aren't purely acid. Classically, they also have slam attacks.
What's next, I wonder?
Oh, shoot, okay. Wow, I did not realize we were so close. Just Auric, though, but that means the rest of the party can't be too far behind. Nice, I think that's level 6. I'll have to double-check my notes. See what I had in mind for this one. I think 7's the next big one for us.
What's the plan? I am fury. I am death.
Oof. Well, Shovel got buried, but that's what he's here for. My goodness, yeah, these things might be a mite bit more dangerous than I anticipated. Not that we're in any real danger just yet. We have plenty of healing on tap. Let's go ahead and spread out a little this time.
Still on my feet.
I will ascend.
I was expecting Slam with Acid. I was not expecting double-ranged AoE. That felt slightly excessive. But, you know, that is one of the mistakes I keep making with this game, is approaching these overtly familiar foes as if they're still using their 3rd edition stat blocks. which obviously is not
keep going.
the case, you know. As evidenced as far back as I want to say that Knoll fight where they suddenly started popping off 3 attacks around. Classically speaking, mediocre jellies are like challenge rating 4, 5? Something in that range. Classic dungeon filler for your average level 4 to 6 dungeon.
Gods, it's hot in here.
But not something that would be hitting multiple characters around for double-digit damage. Then again, it's also possible this is just another Larianism. They do tend to take a lot of liberties with the rules as written. Which must be the case, right? Because classically, a mediocre jelly's whole thing was that if you hit it with certain types of attacks, like Lae'zel's Greatsword, it would not take damage. It would just split into multiple smaller, mediocre jellies. That was like their whole thing.
Victory awaits.
And we're good. Threats cleared. Level up in the queue, which we'll hold off on for the moment. I need to dig up my notes. I did not anticipate hitting level 6 today. We'll just poke around a bit. Ochre Jelly Slime. Fire damage, really? Weird. And an alchemical ingredient.
Energy wanes. Time to rest.
You're fine, Lae'zel. Pretty wild they made it fire instead of acid-based. That really feels like a basic editorial oversight. But not a big deal. I mean, it's weird, but little more than a curiosity, I suppose. Oh, shoot. Come on, guys. In fact, you know what?
Don't be shy.
Let's do some quick cleanup.
At least things have stayed interesting.
Really got to remember I'm carrying all this stuff around.
These boots have seen everything.
Nice, nice. Some weird new wines there. Those jellies are different sizes. That actually does seem to imply they may have originally dabbled with giving them their classic splitting ability. Maybe they just couldn't get it to work properly.
Someone climbed up here. Must have been nimble to make this ascent.
Is that so? Interesting, interesting. Well, if someone climbed up there, they did so in a way that we cannot emulate. And yeah, look at that. That's a huge new area. Oh, wow. We have a whole bunch of stuff up there. Okay, well that's got to be where our gnome escapees are. We'll keep an eye out for a more conventional way up there. I'm sure we've got like a ladder or stairway or something ahead.
Assume nothing.
What to do?
Ooh, nice. I'll take those. Though, sadly, we won't get much use out of those until we cycle Gale back in.
Time to press ahead.
I love Auric, but dude's definitely a one-trick pony when it comes to arcane offense. But, to be fair, from what I've read, that is basically the Warlock's whole spiel. They're not so much about arcane versatility as they are about just leaving a blasting impression. Nothing that way. All non-traversable. Oh. Okay, here we go. And we have signs of habitation. Okay, so maybe our gnomes are over here.
Keeping my head down.
We'll take some precautions, just in case we're walking into another fight. Contemplation chamber.
On my way.
And a cliff to nowhere, though we can see signs that there used to be a bridge here. Oh, okay. Right, that's got to be our way over. We just have to find a way to wrap around to this thing, then we can climb down. Which will also let us access all those catwalks over there. Also worth noting, we've got lit torches, which does imply activity. Let's see what we've got going on over here, then we'll work our way around.
Let feast the eyes of the faithful. Know your goddess. Know her command.
Door is locked, but I imagine that's the key we picked up back in the kitchen. Oh. Well. And we do indeed have deep gnomes. Fantastic. We'll approach openly. No need to freak them out. We're just here to help.
If not over, then through.
Hold it! I swear to Iron Hand. One more step and a blow us to chunks!
An ashen scent fills the air. The barrel is filled with smoke powder, but the scent is acrid, as if contaminated somehow. Or much, much more concentrated.
She's gonna blow up. That's my thing.
Shut your mouth, Hoon, or I'll shut you down.
Okay, hold on now. You come after me, that's fine. You go after Karlach, we have a problem. Why don't we all just calm down before any of us does something that we might regret? We're just here to help.
What's to say? Your near's bootlicker. Saw you sailing. A goddamn true soul. Better to die in this shit heap than rot in Moonrise. You want me? Come get me.
I mean, I don't really want to go and get you. I'm not sure what kind of ultimatum you think you're making here. I also kind of don't want you to blow yourself up, but I mean, if it's really what you want to do... Is it, though?
Damn nutter! You think I fear death?
I certainly hope so.
Shit! I can't do it. Go on, drag me to Moonrise. I'll make you cult nutters suffer.
I really wasn't planning on doing any of those things, but I guess I could if you want me to. Look, I really honestly just kind of wanted to talk, but you seem to have your whole own thing going on here. You can go.
Well, aren't you sweet? I'm not stupid, you know. No such thing in Grimforge as kind hearts. Spit out what you want, and let's be done with it.
Right, of course. You got me. I guess I wouldn't mind some of that smoke powder. It smells weird, and I am curious. Also, I would really like you to chill out.
You want to barter with rune powder? Look, you have no idea what you're dealing with. Any true Iron Hand would trade their life for a grain of this stuff. It's the whole damn reason we're here, and I'm not leaving without it. But let me go. Maybe I'll spare you a vial.
So smoke powder, but with rune for improvement. Yeah, I'll burn a point on that. Sucks we lost 1 point getting into that jam. Hey, there we go.
Rune powder is gnomish folklore, an explosive of awesome power handed down to the gnomes by their war god, Gerdel Ironhand, a formula so dangerous it was stricken from history, if it ever existed to begin with.
Rune powder, you say? That is quite an explosive revelation. I thought that stuff only existed in stories.
We've heard the same ones, I bet. A fistful of fire that can turn cities to dust. Well, it's real. And I need to bring it back to Baldur's Gate. I'd rather my clan were with me, but the mission comes first. A vial's what I can spare you.
Okay, well, hold on. You realize telling me this stuff can be used to vaporize an entire city immediately makes me question why you need it so badly. Why don't you enlighten me as to exactly what you need this stuff for before I make any decisions?
Look, we're freedom fighters. We need this powder to prove a point. To people who really need a point proven to them. Let me go, and you'll be on the right side of history. That's all I can say.
Yeah, that doesn't really do a lot to put my concerns at ease. And you're saying that in exchange for letting you walk out of here with this city-destroying bomb, I will get a single vial of this stuff?
A barrel of this could light up the Underdark. A vial is plenty. Just let me go my way.
Well, you haven't really done a lot to allay my concerns, but at the same time, they have pretty consistently portrayed the Deep Gnomes as being the victims of oppression and abuse. So it feels like they probably have a legitimate cause. Possibly against the Dwergar, or the Illithids, or the Absolute. I am curious to see where it's going. I mean, I have to imagine this will circle back at some point. Yeah, okay, I think my curiosity about where this is all going does just barely outweigh my concern about having a city-destroying bomb out in the wild. Go on then. I'll take a powder and look the other way. Oh. Okay, you know, you could have just handed it to me or put it down on the floor. You didn't have to throw the... Right, thanks. So that's it then? You're just going to take your bomb and blow this joint? You're going to leave your friends behind?
Don't talk of my clan like you understand. I'm getting the rune powder back to Baldur's Gate. Alone.
Sure, good luck with that, I guess. Carrying that barrel that clearly masses your entire body. Let's have a look at that bomb she hucked at us. Rune powder vial. 5d4 plus 18 force damage. The rune powder inside explodes when ignited, damaging everything in the vicinity. Automatically critically hits objects and environments. Rune powder was said to be invented by Girdle Ironhand, the protector god of the gnomes. A mere 23 vials were needed to repel an assault, led by Kurtlemac and his kobold delvers. Neat. I mean, obviously not all that much damage in the grand scheme of things, but I suppose this is more about the impact it has on the story than on the battlefield. It does give me a bit to speculate about. They've actually been building up to this whole rune powder thing for a while now. It's kind of impressive. Like Barkus. Barkus was the first deep gnome we met back at the Blighted Village. And he was expressly carrying a backpack full of smoke powder, which he said he was supposed to deliver somewhere or sell somewhere. And then when we found that Deep Gnome village, I had also speculated that it might be where the Deep Gnomes were making more smoke powder. Though I don't think it was ever overtly stated. You know, they were obviously also collecting just general ores and gems and such. But that poisoned Deep Gnome, the one in the Myconid Circle, we did fail an insight check when we asked her why the Deep Gnomes were here at Grimforge. So I bet if we had passed that, we might have been able to pressure her. Oh, wow. That's like 150 gold. Not too shabby. Gotta say, it feels kind of weird for them to be throwing this much treasure at us all of a sudden, after how frugal they were in those first few areas. But I am certainly not complaining. And a hand-drawn map. Which brings... Oh gosh, that's like 6 lore items now. They are spoiling me. Let me finish poking around the room here real quick, then we'll settle in near the fire. See what else we can piece together about what's really going on here. Oh, you know what? These containers, we might actually be able to use these to get up to that other raised area. Assuming, of course, we can't find another way over. Actually, were there any other exits from this room? Huh. I'm going to assume that's not working the way it's supposed to, but I won't question it, I guess. Anyway. Okay, we've got some side rooms over here. One of those might lead to that walkway we spied earlier. Or they might be collapsed and have no way to proceed any further. Alright, hold on. Let's peek in these last two rooms real quick, then we'll find a good spot to settle in for a second. Gotta take care of these level ups anyway. That'll also give me a chance to lighten our load. Normally I'd just dump all the boxes, but as aforementioned, I would like to see if we can use those to better traverse the cliff face, assuming we can't find another way over there. Which it doesn't look like we can. Alright, well let's enjoy some context books here. Perhaps that will give us some clue as to how to proceed. Sharon's Journal. A dusty old prayer book, scripture hastily overwritten by scrawled diary entries. Day 1. Never saw a beast like it. Bloated with muscle, tusks as long as my arms. Scent of charred flesh, but I saw no flames. The stone might have been parchment, so quick did the creature charge through it. The other justiciars are dead, or close to it. It wasn't alone. Hell Knights, too. Masks bolted to their faces like plaques to a keep wall. Day 3. Trapped. Another rampage, and down the walls came. Started to dig. Not sure. Day 7. It's done. May Shar's shadows keep me. Intriguing. So the Hell Knights are the ones who wiped this place out. That's unexpected. They haven't... Well, no, that's not entirely true. I was going to say they haven't really been involved in the plot thus far, but there were signs that they were the ones who wiped out the Blighted Village as well. Which does get into some weird territory, because, yeah, we know Zevlor and at least some of his followers are also former Hell Knights. But that bumps up against material I know was cut from the final game. Which unfortunately also kind of muddies the waters with something like this. Like, are all references to Hell Knights now moot? Is that something which will be relevant? Or which is a remnant of something they cut? I mean, I guess we'll see. Tablet fragment. Moral commandments and dogmatic prayers are inscribed upon this stone slab. It appears to be the center of a larger piece. And then we have the top and the bottom right here. That's convenient. So said Shar'd to me, Ketheric Thorm. It was Lord Ao who created chaos. It was from chaos that I formed. And it is I who anoint you my paladin. From this day forth, let my laws be known. The law of secrets. What is a secret but truth cast into darkness? Lurk in the shadows and listen for hushed words. The softer a thought spoken, the more power it contains. The more discord it sows, the more scars it may carve. If a man brags of affairs, carry his words to his wife. If a daughter steals from her father, whisper the truth. The deceived turn to Shar. Cuckolds find solace in shadow. Oop. Do this once a 10-day, and the Lady of Loss shall know you. The law of nightfall. From the moon falls the foulest of lights. It peeks through cracks and fissures, illuminating the most remote recesses of the Underdark. Light bestows hope, a pernicious notion which must be extinguished. At the darkest hour, pray to your lady and feast in her honor. The second day after, slay a disciple of Selûne. If none may be found, a Lathandrian or Mistrin are an acceptable offering. Do this once a 10-day, and the Lady of Loss shall know you. Oh, cool. So just one murder every 10 days. That does sound sustainable. The Law of Obeyance. The word of Ketheric Thorm is the word of Shar'd. You shall put no god nor mortal before him. You shall question him in neither word nor deed. When the sun has fallen and the moon is new, bow your head in prayer. Proclaim your devotion to Shar'd and her paladin, Ketheric Thorm. Promise your soul and flesh, and seek no fortune nor favor. When your prayer is finished, speak thus. Mistress Shar'd, I have glorified your name. Master Thorm, I have cried out your word. I am your servant, forevermore. So said Shar'd to me, Ketheric Thorm. So it is decreed, and so it is done. Wield the power of secret. Where lights shine, extinguish it. Heed the word of your mistress and master. Do this, and the Lady of Loss shall know you. Right, so Ketheric Thorm, Paladin of Shar'd. He was a former druid, I believe. At least that's what the records we found back in the druid library seemed to imply. Halsin name-dropped him, but I don't think he really gave us much in the way of details, aside from perhaps implying that he has something to do with whatever's going on with the Shadowlands. Which I imagine will come up more in Acts 2. We're just getting the build up to that now. Let's see what else we've got here. Grimforge, a history. A layer of soot coats this tome's thick hide binding. The binding of this book is thicker than its combined pages, which are surprisingly devoid of detail. We know little of the ones that came before, but we know they worshipped the Lady of Loss. We know they constructed the great fortress and named... The next few words are smeared and illegible. But from whence they came and why they departed, this is a mystery, even to Ketheric Thorm himself. What we do know is that Shar's Chosen has heard her call. Just as Grimforge served our mistress 800 years nigh, so it would again. Here Thorm's dark justiciars shall rise. Here we will fulfill our goddess's pact. Here we will rebuild the lost city of Grimforge. So far will our shadows spread, and so dark will they be, that Selûne's light may be forever extinguished. Interesting. Okay, so our big takeaway here is that this place was not built by Thorm. He just came back to salvage it. It was actually built centuries earlier and then abandoned for some unknown reason, falling into ruin, only for Thorm to eventually come along and try to rebuild it, which in turn seems to have been foiled by the Hell Knights. Though one thing I'm consistently unclear on is just how long ago this whole thing with Ketheric Thorm was. We haven't really gotten much in the way of time markers on that, aside from now that it was less than 800 years ago, which doesn't exactly narrow it down. I mean, Halsin name-dropped him. I think it's been implied that Halsin knew him. But Halsin is also an elf, which, again, could be a matter of centuries. And given the look of this place, it does seem like a pretty safe bet. It's been abandoned for quite some time. How about that map? Hand-drawn map. A map of Grimforge, drafted with a careful hand. A map of Grimforge, drawn by hand, yet highly detailed. Points of interest are marked with black X's, aside from 2, which are identified by bold red circles, 1 on each level of the fortress. The words hiding spot are written within the upper level circle. The lower level circle is identified as smoke powder reserve. Ho ho, potential map markers perhaps? Let me think, so we've already found that smoke powder reserve. I think that was the secret room with the 2 satchels. No, wait, that's... Interesting. We'll need to swing back through there at some point. And then the other map marker, I guess, would be right here, her hiding spot. Yeah, that tracks. Anyway, we do indeed seem to have dead-ended here. There's no obvious path to that bridge we saw earlier, so I think our best bet might be to go back and stack some crates, see if that helps us leapfrog our way up. Though, that said, speaking of higher levels, let's hit the pause button real quick. I'll figure out what we're doing with ours. And, you know, stack some crates. Be right back. And we're back. And yes, as you can see, I have precariously stacked a few crates and barrels here, and believe it or not, this modest pile will be sufficient to get our entire party up top, with the sole exception of Shovel, but that's fine. We can resummon once we're up there. That will, however, have to wait for next time. For now, we're just doing our level ups. So, let's see what we got. Everyone pulls hit points, of course, but Auric also gains Entropic Ward, which as a reaction allows him to impose disadvantage on attack rolls against him, which is interesting. Thus far, I've just kind of been using Charm every time, because why not? But this does give us more options. It also, again, really kind of makes me wish there was some way we could boost our number of reactions. And then as for our spell, no real question here. I think I may have mentioned it before, but we are going right for Hunger of Hadar. It was either that or Fly, but I figured, what the heck, we'll just lean into the Warlock side of things. We've got scrolls and potions for emergencies. After that, we've got Lae'zel, who gets hit points and a new feat. And I had to give this one some thought. I hadn't really planned on having her with us this long. And my original thought with her had been to go Polearm, you know, go for Polearm Mastery and Sentinel. But that was before I realized that apparently her best weapons are greatswords. So that does kind of stymie my original plans. So with that in mind, I figured we'd just go with something more generic. We'll grab Savage Attacker. If I am reading that correctly, it essentially gives her advantage on all melee damage rolls. And it also conveniently leaves the door open in case I decide to go back to polearms. Y'all can weigh in on that one. Next up, we've got Karlach, who has 0 options this level up. She pulls health, she pulls an extra charge of rage, always welcome, and she picks up Mindless Rage, which makes her immune to Charm, Frighten, and Calm Emotion while raging. Seems pretty solid, nothing to really complain about. And finally, Shadow, who pulls more health, gets an extra spell slot, an extra charge of Channel, which I really should use more often, plus Innate Read Thoughts and Speak with Animals, which I didn't realize she gets, and is also kind of pointless on our our non-main character, unfortunately. That does really feel like one of the big misses in this game. Not better integrating the full party into a conversation. It'd be great if we could have, like, Auric operating as our face while Karlach handles intimidation and Shadow lurks in the background, skimming people's thoughts. As far as our new spell goes, no real questions there. Spirit Guardians, which is a great AoE Radiant spell. That'll really help us leverage that Radiant breastplate we've been toting, but haven't gotten much use out of. And then, of course, we can also swap off to other spells as needed. Revivify, Remove Curse. But those are obviously a lot more situational. And that's it. Level up complete, at least for the characters we currently have present. I'll worry about the rest off screen next time we do a long rest. That said, unfortunately, it does look like the next area above us is fairly sprawling and involved, so I think we are going to have to go ahead and call it here. We'll hit the pause button for now. I'll take care of the usual off-screen bookkeeping. And we'll pick up here next time, as we pop up top and start poking around the rafters. I am curious if there's more Deep Gnome escapees up there. The lit torches do certainly seem to imply there's someone up there, not to mention, of course, the traces of climbing, but I guess we'll find out. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Revenant, Alois, CrowkingLoR, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, Theory V23, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.
Shut your mouth, Hoon, or I'll shut you down.